I keep doing this union until I will be able to merge all these clusters, overlap all these clusters. So I get a connected point to every cluster. I keep connecting. I have a single link. Okay. Now, if my R is equal to 1, should I give some more time for the algorithm? I hope this first one is clear. Yes. Second one, I create a cluster. AI is my circle, one circle, okay, one cluster, which is an element of S. How do I find that point is an element of that particular cluster? I take the distance measure of the data point, comma, X, okay, which is less than or equal to epsilon, okay. Yes.
What is X?
This is supposed.
It's the distance between the data point, so 1 point, and X. What is X?
X is any point in the data set.
Okay, so we make the distance between 1 point and all the points.
All the points. 1 point and all the points, it is the case. Okay. The D can be any distance measure. Okay, the small d is usually a distance between points. The small d denotation in clustering algorithms is a notation for distance between any 2 points. Okay, and that is actually a function. I have to define a Euclidean distance or a Manhattan distance or some distance there for d for me to calculate it. Okay, then I find the cardinality of this cluster. As I told you, every cluster is valid only if it has so many points. Okay, so I find the cardinality of the cluster. If the cardinality is less than R, what I have specified, okay, in the algorithm, I am not going to use that as a cluster. I cannot call it as a cluster. It still needs some more density. It still needs some more points to make it valid. Okay, so I move on. Okay, I do an intersection. I find an empty set. Until that, I will be doing a union of the clusters. So I will be able to get a connected set of clusters when I finally come to the output. Okay, this is how my DB scan will be working. So this is an example of my original data points which I have. Okay, that is an example of 4 points, border points and noise. There is a color gradation which is given there. All your green is your core, your blue is your border point and the black ones are your noise points. I hope it is visible. Yes, you have 4 points here. Yes, you have border points here and you have a few noise points. Now how does this get clustered? You get a clustering like this. Okay, this color is not visible here. Okay, you get a clustering like this. Basically, do you find a non-convex shape here? Yes, your DB scan will be able to do a non-convex shape clustering. Okay. So, as I told you, they are resistant to noise. They can handle clusters of different shapes and sizes. So, this is the goodness and the bad part of the algorithm. They are supposed to detect arbitrary shapes. They are not sensitive to noise. They can do outlier detection. Okay, and very popular after your k-means algorithm. After the k-means. The bad part of it is it doesn't work well when you go for a high dimensional data set. Okay, high dimensional data set is, it is still clarified enough that it can work with atmospheric data, satellite image data. There are enough literature that is available that these data works well with DB scan. If you have still higher amount of data, then your DB scan is going to fail. Okay, and parameter selection is little tricky here. See, now we are left with a problem that we have to give an input of R and epsilon for this algorithm. Okay, so practically finding out the radius and finding out the epsilon value for a cluster is not that very easy. It's the same as we have to find out the k value in your k-means or k-medoids. Okay, so that is one tricky part here. Okay, and calculating density on the epsilon balls that we have or the number of points looks to be simple, but when it goes, as he asked, to every data point it has to be calculated. So it is computationally not that very easy. Okay.
And what about the noise? The
What?
noise part. What do you do with the noise?
What do you know?
With the noise. The part you have cluster.
It's disconnected.
Noise points are usually discarded. They are not outliers. If you see, noise is something which does not fit into your data set. That is what is treated as noise. Okay. A noise point according to DBSCAN. DBSCAN defines noise point clearly. That's why it is very successful. Other algorithms cannot define noise point. DBSCAN says if it is not a core point, if it is not a border point, it becomes a noise point. DBSCAN doesn't have a definition for outlier because it treats everything with a single linkage. That's why it is able to handle all the outliers.
What is the thing in the algorithm that is making you to realize non-closure shapes? What exactly is that? What is making you realize that?
See, I have a first cluster with a radius r. Okay. First thing that happens is within that cluster for that radius, min points. Let me say I should have 4 minimum points for me to make one cluster. It is going to find out for that point, is there 4 minimum points? There are 4 minimum points, it will make a cluster, it will move to the next data point. Okay, from there again for a radius, it is going to find out my cluster. Okay, so entire data set get clustered like this. Okay, so any non-convex shape can get clustered like this. I get a clustering, I start here, it's like this. It goes like this. It goes like this. So
I'm saying, let's say we are giving a number of data points, right, to make a cluster.
Yes.
Let's say some data is outlier data, and there is no such, means those many numbers are not.
See, an outlier data is basically for this shape, an outlier data, where will you term? The idea is it will not leave anything as outlier. DBSCAN does not see anything as an outlier because on a single linkage it keeps moving through the entire data.
But to make the cluster, we need certain amount of data points, right?
Yeah, that's what. If you have 4, you are not going to have a cluster there. If you are going to move to an arbitrary cluster, that cluster is going to be unioned with the previous one. You have a union which does it. If the intersection is an empty set, you are going to do a union, so it goes to the previous cluster.
How it breaks?
How it?
How it finishes one cluster? Like, you know, what criteria?
If there is no data point available for it to find next for the radius, then it breaks and starts finding a new data point. See, when I come with a circle here, okay, further from here, if I make an R radius, I am not finding any data here which is available. Then it's going to start with a data point from my data set which is not started. It can be any of my data points here. If this is the shape.
Usually after what dimension can we use this algorithm when you say like it doesn't work at the higher dimension?
See, actually that's what I said. If you have image data on satellites, okay, that's supposed to be treated as one of the huge dimension data. Up to that it works. After that, when you say, okay, it becomes a very difficult definition to define what is a huge data set after that. Okay.
So it's because defining the radius becomes difficult, or what happens?
Computation, ending the computation will be very difficult. The algorithm converging will be very long. It takes a lot of time because it's computing every data point to every other data point and finding, right? So it's going to converge. The convergence is going to take a lot of time for it to close. The last variation that I want to project is, I shouldn't leave this. Okay, this is called as fuzzy clustering. Okay, this method is used in most of our recommender systems. Okay, when they want to cluster, as I told you earlier, I belong to psychology cluster, I belong to computer science cluster. You all said that 50% psychology books will be recommended, 50% computer science. But actually there is a fuzzy membership that is made for my data point towards psychology and towards computer science. So I have a membership, I am a fuzzy data. Okay, I term myself as a fuzzy data who belongs to 2 clusters. Okay, a membership level determines where I am strongly affirmed to. If I am strongly affirmed to computer science, my level of membership, fuzzy membership is higher there, then my recommendations will be computer science, will not be psychology. Okay, there is another clustering which you can deal with if you have such fuzzy data in hand. Fuzzy column data is available, you can use this. Basically in database, multi-valued field you have, go for fuzzy. Now, we have done a lot of clustering algorithms. How do we evaluate these clusters? Okay. Two things that I would like you all to do if you are specifically doing real-time data clustering. Okay. One thing is you have to go for an entropy calculation. The other one is you have to do a purity calculation. Okay. Does all my data points belong to that cluster only? Someone has to affirm that. Someone has to say yes, all your cluster data points are original. They belong to this cluster. Okay, so you need a mathematical proof. After you apply the algorithm, you should have a mathematical proof that it is valid that these belong to this cluster. So you're supposed to go for at least entropy and purity. Okay, and the last slide. Which clustering algorithm should I use? Okay, it's a big challenge. Okay, it is not that easy. You know now there are different algorithms. I have just brought only a few for explanation here. There are still more algorithms that are available. Each one has its own disadvantage and its advantage. Based on the data that you have, I will not say it is not impossible. You can find out an algorithm which is best suited for your data set. Okay. So my last line, clustering is highly application dependent and to a certain extent subjective. There is a lot of personal preference that we have. Okay, so that can also, sometimes human intuition works better when we see data. So that intuition should actually come into practice. Sometimes or most of the times the human intuition will yield you better results. Okay, so that's all I have for the session.
Any questions?
If there are any questions I can take up, yes.
Yeah, it's regarding the evaluation. So can we define false positive, false negative, and positive and negatives in cluster?
You can define, okay, but again you will have to only reiterate through the algorithm. It is possible if you are going to use algorithms which helps you to reiterate back. K-means, K-medoids, hierarchical it is not possible.
Okay.
You'll have to redo it again. Okay, so after you identify the value of purity, you are not happy with the purity value of the cluster, you want to know what are the false negatives which are sitting inside, you have to reiterate back to the algorithm.
And there's one more. In this scenario, which is unsupervised, when we apply this in the real-time scenarios, so how often should we evaluate? Is there a measure which tells me that like after 1 month I have to reevaluate the algorithms because you keep getting the data?
See, actually, no, I would like to tell you, whenever we do a mathematical model, we see that the mathematical model is stable. Now I do a neural network, I run it for so many epochs on training, so that I know that my network is stable to handle any data. Right? So this stability, actually if it is done properly, I need not recheck it. If my network is stable to handle any amount of unseen data, my target should not be 80% training, 20% testing. It should be 80% testing, 20% training. That's what at the beginning itself I said. We have to look into data as semi-supervised and weakly supervised. If we look at it in that manner and build the system, it is not required. That can adapt itself to any unseen data that comes in. Any other questions?
Does model-based approach always give better results?
It is not necessary model-based approach has to give better results, but it is mathematically valid. We can give a valid proof for mathematical models. Okay, you can define it perfectly. So it is not always the case. There is no bias that mathematical models will give you better proofs.
So is it like the data is a bit of complex and
See, usually when we get a data, when I say you have to go through the data, you try to do some fitting on the data, you try to see what type of distribution the data follows. If I specifically have a Gaussian distribution following on the data, if I am going to use a Gaussian mixture model, it's surely going to work fine.
that itself is a bit difficult to visualize?
Yeah, that visualization of data is the very first point. That's what I told. When you get data, you're supposed to go through data. You have to visualize data. Then after that, you can learn what approach and what supervision and then go to the algorithm.
So if it is not plotted, then what about the other ways I can visualize?
Based on past literature, what type of algorithms have been applied on those type of data. That will be one lead point.
What is the distance measure that's being used for CC?
Fuzzy C means is not a distance, it's a membership.
No, I mean, what distance measure is being used in?
You have a membership value that is calculated for every data point to be belonging to that cluster. I am a data point. I have a 60% membership in cluster A and 20% membership in cluster B and 20% membership in cluster C. So entirely I should have 100% of membership in any of the clusters that is present there.
The membership will be calculated based on some dissimilarity measure.
Yes.
So what that dissimilarity measure is it a Euclidean distance?
Usually not an Euclidean distance. It is not an Euclidean distance for fuzzy, because Euclidean distance is for a data point which is there particularly on one particular cluster. Fuzzy does not support that.
So what is distance measure?
You have lot of distance measures like Chebyshev's distance formulas you have, which will actually support to make a point belong to more than one cluster.
So how is it different from GMM? Even that will give you the class membership.
GMM is actually, if my distribution is following Gaussian, it's going to be a very good clustering. If it's not going to follow Gaussian distribution, if my data is going to be a normal distribution data, GMM is not going to work, where my fuzzy will work.